Greetings, Washington County. I'm Joseph Wood, County Judge here in Washington County, and so pleased to be with you as we reflect on Black history and look at the experiences and where we've been. Here it is, February 2022, and I'm here in the county archives. It's been an honor serving as county judge, and now my second term, the first Black county judge in Washington County and Arkansas's history, and I thoroughly enjoyed the opportunity to spend time and serve with you. I'm here in the archives because Washington County was one of the few counties that was able to retain and hold on to their records in the early 19th century, because across the country, many courthouses and records were burned and lost because of the Civil War and the fires that were consuming those records. We were able to save those. Our records were actually removed from the county courthouses and put in Fincher's Cave near Black Oak, and many guys would know that, and it was a providential move to do that. It was allowing us to retain documents prior to the 19th century. And the courthouse burned in 1862. In fact, a young slave girl named Adeline, she was the one who kind of helped us understand and recounted her story and giving the account of the courthouse burning. The Civil War days were vivid to me. The courthouse, which was in the middle of the square, was burned one night by a crazy Confederate soldier. The old man in the town saved him, and they put him in the county jail to keep him from burning other houses. Each family was to take food to him, and they furnished bedding. The morning I was to take him breakfast, he had ripped open his feather bed and crawled inside to get warm. The room was so full of feathers when I got there that his food nearly choked him. I had carried him ham and hot biscuits and a hot pot of coffee. I did not really appreciate or understand the significance of becoming county judge, being the first in Arkansas, the first in Washington County. It was really after I started the role and taking on and working with elected officials and justice of the peace, but really traveling and meeting my colleagues across the state. I started spending more time with county judges, and then as I got into the archives and started spending time in the archives department, when I realized the very first property deeds in this county in 1828, 1830 were slaves. 3 slaves that were the first deeded property in the county. It hit me that while here I am a little less than 200 years later as the county judge, as the executive of the county, and working and presiding over these archives and working with elected officials, it really did take on a significant and really brought it home to me.
I first learned of that, being a JP, by the Judge Charles Johnson, and he and his wife Phyllis came and asked me if I would run. And I'm one of those people that says, okay, having no clue or know nothing of knowing what it was, what I was getting into, what I was doing. So what happened was that Lal Thompson and a few more of the older members came aboard and actually walked me through what the Justice of the Peace was, what quorum court was, and we went from there. I'd never been able to actually think about a political journey one way or the other. But when I got into it and I learned what it was all about, and I didn't even have a thing of what the county was about. I didn't know what the county was doing. I learned from the bottom up as to what I was what was expected of me, what I was doing, where I was going. And that to me was a start. And when they said I had to campaign, I went, wait. And but I said, okay, what do I do? How do I go about this? I was on District 5, not knowing what District 5 was, where I was going, how I was going to campaign, all of this. And those older people on the court sit me down, talked to me, and told me how to do it and what to do. And I went from there. I had one slogan when I started to run for the court, and that was, if I win, I win. If I lose, I win. Because of the fact that being the first African American to go for this ride, I was saying I open the door for anybody else that wants to try it to be able to do it. And the thing was that, to me, the journey that I took on the court, the committees that I was on the court, were more than a teaching or a learning. I met people that I still remember. I met friends, but I learned what it meant to be a official of the court altogether, which in my sight was I could go in the community of where I lived and say, this is what quorum court is, and this is what it does, so that everybody else that came aboard would have an idea of what they were getting into. And the two largest things that I remember was the new county jail when Helder first started, and the tunnel. We had the discussions of those two things over and over and over, and it was neat to be a part of that. It was neat for me to keep my calm and just to be able to don't let me lead you down the wrong path. There were those that we had the discussion and we were on the same page by the time I told them what I thought and how I thought. But that, to me, that was a wonderful experience. I still have a lot of things that I remember. I remember the people, and I remember the help that I had, and I remembered trudging around in this building and finding out who was who and what was where I was going, and it was great. It was a great opportunity. It was a great thing to be able to learn, especially how the county works.
Hi, my name is Gary McHenry. I was appointed by Governor Asa Hutchinson to the Washington County Quorum Court in September of 2015. Thankfully, I had previous experience in public service because serving in a public forum can sometimes be challenging. Nonetheless, I was excited and proud for my appointment. I wanted to be a statesman and not just a politician. I wanted the decisions that I made to result in forward progress for Washington County's citizens. My term ended in December of 2016. As a parting encouragement to my colleagues, I wanted to share with them a quote from Dr. Martin Luther King. Dr. King, in a speech in 1965, said this about progress: "Human progress is neither automatic nor inevitable. Every step towards a goal requires sacrifice, suffering, and struggle. In addition, the tireless exertions and passionate concern of dedicated individuals. Public service is not always easy, but it's always rewarding to those who understand what is required."
When I think about serving Washington County, service was actually my goal. I was not elected to serve Washington County, I was appointed. And being a Black woman, serving Washington County was a joy and a privilege that I will never hold lightly. I didn't have the choice in being born in a Black race, and the people of District 7 didn't have a choice in me being their JP. I prayed when I got that position, and I asked God to give me wisdom and to help me serve a people that didn't know me and might not like me, or they may even be against me. I was blessed with the thought of serve them in the way that you would want to be served. I had a great time serving Washington County. It was hard and challenging at times, but it was an humbling experience. I met with people who at times agreed with me and other times disagreed with me. Some liked my ideas and others didn't, but I served anyway. The people of District 7 invited me to events and meetings, and I connected with them and discussed what they wanted and what they needed as a people of Washington County and things that related to the county. I remember having to guide and advise some people because they would want me to solve national or other civic issues. So I would guide them to the right person or the right governing body that would help them in those needs. But in the business of Washington County, I would share what I knew and also my ideas on how county issues should be solved. And then I would ask the people what they wanted or how they wanted those issues to be solved, basically letting them know that they also have a choice. I worked for them and with them. We worked together, the people of Washington County and I. As a citizen, I want to be heard and I want to be represented. And as a JP, I tried to make sure that the people of Washington County not only felt that they were heard and represented, but they were actually heard and represented. Was my black race a factor? Maybe for some, but for the most part, I was their JP, and I was there to help them with their needs. All elected and appointed officials should never forget that the citizens are who we work for and serve, and that's how it should be. And I'm thankful to Washington County and to the people of District 7 for the service and the opportunity that I had being appointed the District 7 JP.
So I've been thinking about Black history, what it means to be a Black elected official in Washington County. And I can't help but think back in 1828 when Washington County was established that there is absolutely no way that a Black woman could serve in the capacity as an elected official. I wholeheartedly believe that our elected officials and our leadership should reflect the communities that we represent. And I am so elated to walk in the footsteps of women like Ms. Jessie Bryant and serve the constituents of District 8. On a personal level, being a Black elected official is also very fulfilling for me because my father was actually the first Black elected official in the county that I grew up in. And so just being a part of his legacy and other legacies of other Black elected officials, not just here in Washington County, but just everywhere, that really means a lot to me.
And what a tremendous journey it has been for me. Elected in 2016 by the folks in Washington County with a record number of votes and all across the county to go in and be sworn in January of 2017 was astounding. And I stand on the shoulders of this county and where we come from. Earlier I talked about the archives and some of the first property and deeds of the county being slaves. And so I stand on the shoulder of where our history has been, but still what's possible. And hearing from Justice of the Peace Bryant and Justice of the Peace Gary McHenry and Justice of the Peace Chandra Washington, again, it just continues to spell and showcase what is possible here in Washington County, that all citizens of Washington County are able to serve and be a beacon of hope across this county, serving all the citizens of Washington County. I've enjoyed the ride. I enjoy and encourage folks to get engaged, get involved in serving their county.